Welcome to section 3 of the Improving and Succeeding at a Small School lecture series. In this section, we're going to cover strategies for improving with your coach. So in the last section, we covered things you can do on your own. These are strategies you can use with your coach or with another person, say a friend or a parent or a fellow debater, to improve your debate skills. Now, before we dive into the specifics, disclaimer at the front, your coach is your coach, okay? They're there to help you. They want to help you. You should totally embrace that resource. One of the benefits to being at a small school is you can have the opportunity for more one-on-one time with a coach. Now, that may require putting out additional effort on your part. For example, in my debate classes, which is how we did at my school, we'd have a class for debate. Most of the class was spent teaching the novices about debate. So that would be an opportunity for me to cut cards. But then I'd come in after school almost every day and just talk through arguments with my coach, which is the opportunity there to get one-on-one time with your coach, learn things, etc. You could do before school, after school, maybe designate like one class a week just for your kind of time. So this is something you can go talk to your coach about. But when you have small schools, you normally only have one or two coaches, but you also have less debaters. So there's more opportunity for one-on-one time. And that's an opportunity. Again, your coach is your coach. They have lots of ideas. You should totally embrace your ideas. This lecture is just going to be some supplemental ideas you can talk about with your coach, see what they think, maybe things you're already doing. But these are some of the things I did in high school to help me get better with my coach. So there's going to be two kind of overarching ideas. The first is going to be doing drills and speeches with coaches. Now, these are to make you better in rounds. So sound better, speak more efficiently, make better arguments, etc. These are things you do outside of a debate to make you better inside of the debate in terms of speaking ability and practicing giving and articulating arguments. So first thing to note, every drill you do on your own, all the drills we mentioned in the last lecture are things you can also do with a coach. So you can do speed drills with a coach listening there who can be saying, that didn't sound quite right, or let's try to go faster, that kind of thing. So just as like a motivator, or you can do that with like a fellow debater, have you do like speed drill contests. That's a way to both have some fun, have some good competition, but also then motivate yourselves to each go faster. Other drills you can do include doing the mock speeches. So like do a mock 2AC, do a mock 2NC, get feedback, etc. But I would suggest, again, record yourself, but by doing it with a coach there, with somebody else present, it can add some additional drills or possibilities that don't exist when you're doing it by yourself. So the first one is mock cross-ex. You can give a speech, your coach can cross-ex you following that speech, which is something you can't do when you're on your own, because obviously you don't have anyone asking questions. But then when your coach is there, they can ask you questions, and then you can get feedback both on the speech you gave and then on how you answered their cross-ex questions. Next one you could do is live round simulation. So this can take several different forms. I'll go through the ways I did in high school. So the first way would be my coach gives like a constructive speech. So like a 1AC or a 1NC, and then you give the responding speech. So you maybe create a 1NC and give it, or you respond to a 2AC, or you respond to a 1NC. So like they give a speech, you respond to it. You're practicing, simulating, being that round, actively hearing the arguments, responding to the arguments, using prep time, getting your speech ready to go, and then giving it. So then you get comments both on how the speech went, but then also like, what was your preparation process? How did that process go down? How do you think we could fix that in the future? Another drill you can do with other people are flowing drills. One of my favorite that I remember from high school is the card drill, where basically your coach will take a deck of cards, will shuffle it once or twice, and then we'll start dealing them face down, saying what it is. So it'd be like 5 of spades, 3 of hearts, 10 of diamonds, ace of diamonds, king of clubs, etc., through the deck. And you're flowing the cards. And then at the end, the coach will turn them over, go through it again, and see if you got them all right. So that's a drill to practice hearing and flowing it right down. You'll learn how to use accompanying symbols, etc. And you can transition from that to have the cards represent different arguments. So say maybe the ace represents like an impact scenario. It'd be like king of clubs, ace of diamonds. So you're like king clubs, internal link, ace of diamonds, impact. And then you're like flowing different arguments with the names of the cards. And you can just build it to make it more of a simulation to what it would be like in an actual debate round. And the last one you can do is like mini debates. So you can have mini debates with your coaches, whether like doing like a section of the debate. So like they give maybe not the whole, but they like lay down the points from a negative block, you give a responding 1AR. Or you can focus on like a specific idea. So you could be like, we're going to have a debate about theory. And so they list what the 2AC was. You respond like an intrinsic term, they give the 1AR, you give the 2NR. So you have like mini, like a theory debate. Or you can do things just like, we're going to have a mini debate like on a disad. So like 3 minutes for each person, we're just going to cover the disad. And that's a way to interact with your coach, interact with a fellow debater, not having like a whole round so it doesn't take as much time, but more like specific and more focused on like a particular argument that then you can work through and get feedback on how you extend that argument. So that's kind of the first main strategy, is drills and speech with the coaches. Your coaches are there to help you. They want to help you. This is kind of, I'm sure you've heard it before, the more you get in, the more you get out. That's really how debate works. The more effort you put into it, and the more work you put into it, the better you'll be at it, the more you get out of it come later in rounds, and your coaches want to help you with that. So use that opportunity, use that one-on-one time to do some drills with your coaches, practice flowing, practice cross-sects, practice giving speeches, and you'll see a lot of improvement. The second kind of distinct way to improve with your coaches is argument maps. So, and these can take kind of two forms. So the first can be information webs, or like brainstorming ideas. But it's not really a brainstorm, it's more of like you understanding the idea. So let's say your start of the season, you want to understand your app. Your coach could put in the middle, like let's say you're running a Quartz Clean Water Act. So they write that, like they write Quartz Clean Water Act, colon, and the plan text, put that in a bubble. And then you start putting webs off of it. You can talk about advantage areas, arguments for and against it, that kind of thing. This is a back and forth process. It's a way to actively engage with the material, better understand the material. You both should be talking in this phase. They should be giving you the information they have. You should be adding in the information you've learned, asking questions when you don't understand things. These are a great way to understand your arguments in more detail. And because you have that access to more one-on-one time, it means you have more opportunity to go in depth about your argument. So I've attached a picture here of what a potential argument map could look like. So we have a contention. So let's say this is advantage one, like the thesis of advantage one. We'll say, let's say it's like prevents pollution, which causes environmental destruction and helps stop climate change, or something of that nature. So we have this. Then you can list like the reasons for. So like outweighs on magnitude, climate change is important, pollution is bad, we should reject it, etc. What are some answers? Well, maybe, you know, the US government hasn't always been the best at addressing pollution, okay? Maybe pollution is useful in some circumstances. It's not, but you know, maybe somebody will try to impact harm pollution, that kind of thing. So then you've listed out some arguments for and against. So now you've seen both like, what are ways you're supporting your advantage, but also what are some ways people could possibly attack it? So you're ready for that. And then you go through and answer each one. So it's like climate change, why does it matter? Well, it outweighs on magnitude, it causes huge amounts of suffering, droughts, famines, likelihood of conflict increases, etc. So it's like, that's a big impact. Pollution, it's bad. Well, why is it bad? Well, it causes environmental damage, hurts agriculture, pollutes water, which gives people sickness, etc. So there you have kind of your impact, why it matters. Their answer, like, well, the federal government isn't very good at addressing pollution. You're like, okay, maybe one answer would be a list of case studies where they've been empirically successful at addressing pollution. Another would be the federal government is able to act when they're motivated to act, and the plan fiats that action, so it means they'll be effective, kind of a thing. So this is a way to just map your arguments. The other way, as kind of explained above, would be like more of a spider web. So you have your topic in the middle, and then you have offshoots of your information. I think both ways to do it are effective. I think both ways to do it are very informative, but argument maps are a great thing to do, I'd say, throughout the season, but especially at the beginning and the end of the season when you're getting new arguments. So at the beginning of the season where you're learning your new app, you're learning your cases, you're getting used to the topic. These are a great way to get all your information out there and really understand your argument. And then at the end of the season, when say you're breaking a new affirmative or preparing to break in a new affirmative at your like end of season tournament, just understanding your argument in depth, because that is a way to really help control the debates and help understand and command the ideas in a way that's effective. And that also is one of the benefits of argument maps, is as you're asking these questions, as you're having this dialogue, think about, how would I want to characterize this idea? Okay, we talked about this advantage. How do I want to explain that? Come like the 2AR, or we're talking about like our dissat. How do I want to impact characterize this by the 2NR? How does this potentially turn certain advantages? So argument maps are a great way to interact with coaches, interact with other debaters, and make sure you have a good grasp of your arguments and an understanding of both what your argument is, the background surrounding your argument, kind of what their best answers could be, and how you want to characterize it at the end of the debate. So in addition to all the things we talked about in the last lecture, doing drills with coaches and having argument maps are a great way to use your coaches, use the resources and friends you've made to improve your debating skills and to succeed down the road by understanding your arguments, having done repetitions of your arguments, and being ready to carry through those ideas and present them in a debate. So in our next lecture, we're going to talk about some of my tips and tricks, some of the things I wish I'd done, some of the things I did that proved successful from high school. So I'll see you then.